you, mate. A few people had said it'd be good to have a tour of Oakmount, and I think that's a great opportunity for me to give you guys a look around the place. First of all, the house that I'm stood in at the moment. I'm in the midst of renovating and have been for some time. I can do a little bit of a before and after. There's no video because I've never filmed any of this, but there are some photographs, so I can show you a before, during and after, but as it currently is, so still during, as you can probably tell. I can also give you a tour of the buildings towards the back of the house and the land that surrounds it as well. Go through some of the future plans for that, as well as giving you the tour. And hopefully you'll get a better idea of this incredible place that we're renovating, restoring, and bringing back to its former glory. It'd be great to know what people think of this as well. So if you have any questions, any suggestions, any advice, because I am new to this whole YouTube thing, that'd be great. I'm investing in a mic because I believe the audio in the previous video was a little bit hit and miss. So a few people have suggested some microphones. I have ordered one, so hopefully that will be here and the audio quality will be a bit cleaner for the next video. But yeah, it'd be great. If you've got any questions about the house, please put them in the comments below. I'll try and answer as many of them as I can in amongst renovating this wonderful place. Okay then, let's take the tour. I'm standing in what will be the new access for Oakmount, but for now, we have to take a walk down there to get to the front door. Here we are, the front door. The front of the house already looks a lot different to when we bought it over a year ago now. There actually used to be a big hole there. It was part of the drive. Cobbled drive. More about the big trench in a little bit, but for now, let's go inside. As you come through the front door into the hallway, there's already been quite a lot of changes in this space. The staircase is actually a new staircase. It replaced the old original Victorian one, but it was far too steep. I actually fell down it a couple of times and was lucky not to be quite seriously hurt. So that's been replaced with one. There's a much shallower incline going up there now, but as a result, I actually had to block up the door that was here. The staircase actually used to start in line with that pillar, so you can see from there to the top of the stairs just how steep that was originally. So with blocking up this door, we needed access to the room that door went into, which meant removing this entire wall to open up this space into one massive room. I'll get onto that bit in just a second because that's all been opened up as well, and take you through to here. This used to be the old external wall of the house. Everything on that side used to be a driveway. It was a fully cobbled driveway. We've actually gone to the trouble of keeping every single cobble in the position that it was in and transferring it to inside one of the barns, because the plan is to reuse those somewhere within the land at a later date. So yeah, everything on this side used to be a driveway, but this specific area will actually be the snug at the front of the house, up to the white chalk line on the wall there. I'll be building a stud partition wall across here. Those of you wondering why there is a huge channel dug into the ground, it's actually for the new water feed that's coming in. The house currently has a lead water pipe. I'll be replacing that with a plastic water pipe. I've already done a lot of the work that goes into it, but I will do a video on the process that you need to take to have a lead water pipe replaced if you need to. So yeah, on to the rest of the house. I thought I'd do the full downstairs tour before I go upstairs. Apologies for the mess. This is what a renovation looks like, unfortunately. Ignore the tyres. So this is the large living area that we've opened up. There used to be a solid wall there. We've installed an RSJ there and an RSJ there. There used to be a tiny door leading through into a tiny little kitchen at the back of the house. Everything on that far wall was actually accessed externally. It was the old outdoor toilet and the coal storage room. And everything on the other side of that RSJ was the driveway. There was a solid wall all the way across there. But we've opened this space up just to be a kitchen dining area. If we go through this side, there will eventually be a downstairs toilet in this area and a utility room here. And as I mentioned earlier, the snug will be at the very front of the house with a partition wall built in. We also installed these bifold doors to bring as much light as possible into the kitchen. There used to be a small little door there, a window, and again, all of that area over there was accessed externally. So we've encapsulated all of that to the inside of the building now. I think it makes a really, quite an amazing space, really. My brother actually had to come and give me a hand installing these things because they come as one solid unit, and it is too much for me to lift on my own. He's helped me out a couple of times. The new staircase that you'll have seen, my dad and my brother helped me install that, just because of the weight of the thing and how difficult it is to move. So some of the bigger tasks, some of the bigger projects in this house have really been a family affair, and I can't thank them enough for the help with getting us to this point. If anyone is wondering why the kitchen is here when the house is clearly not ready for it, money is the answer to that question. A lot of the more expensive items that we knew we needed to buy, we bought early on because prices are continuing to rise, and it made financial sense to buy it now, even though it's going to get a bit dusty in the meantime. That's most of the downstairs covered off now. It's a lot bigger and a lot more open plan than it used to be. We've probably added, I'd say, 80% of what was the existing square footage or square meterage again by encapsulating the drive into the house and opening up all of this space. So I can take you upstairs now and give you a brief look at what we've done there. So I can take you up the new staircase, which is much safer than the old one. And to the top of the stairs, again, another RSJ. There used to be a wall here with a small door and a passageway to the very back of the house where there was an existing bathroom. We're going to relocate that to here, which I've already boarded. The ceiling's plastered, and there's going to be a video in the next week or two of me installing the underfloor insulation, the underfloor heating, and eventually the tiles and the thermostat and everything that goes with that. I'll first take you to the front of the house. Now, that door there didn't used to be there. There was a large storage cupboard where the loft access is. That was a solid wall, and we've installed that doorway to give access to a new front bedroom. Now, if I come into here, this whole space used to be one long room. So all the way to the front and all the way to the back, which has now been partitioned off. I'll hopefully put a photo in of that. It was affectionately called the long room, and ran the entire length of the property. But I'll take you through this way first. This is one of the front bedrooms. It's just been plastered today, so fresh plaster on all four walls. There's quite a lot of work that's gone into this room to get it to this point, including the installation of a new window, internally insulating the external two walls, which is that one and that one. That's 100mm PIR board, vapor sealed, but I can do a tutorial or a video on that when I'm doing the same process downstairs. There's also this fireplace. Interestingly, when we first bought this house, there were 7 individual chimney stacks on the roof, all in a poor state of repair. So we've removed all but 2 of them. We will be installing a wood burner at some point and hopefully have an active fireplace alongside that, but that will depend on budget, time frame, various other things. So this is just a decorative fireplace, but it will be fully restored. I'll be polishing it up. I'll probably do a standalone video just on this because there's a lot of work that goes into it, alongside reinstating some not quite original features, but fireplaces that we've found from reclamation companies or from companies that sell restored and rejuvenated fireplaces that will fit with the character of this property. So I'll do some videos on those. Like I said, there's only 2 chimneys now that are completely flued to the top. One for a wood burner, one for a hopefully open fire, but we'll make a decision on that in the future. This is bedroom number 2, which is also currently the storage room for all of our worldly possessions. So anyone that thinks a renovation is simple and easy. Not when you have to move house and bring all of your things with you. I'm not going to spend too long in here. It's been plastered, similar to the other room, fully insulated on the external walls. I've already fitted new windows to the entirety of the house. I'll try and get some pictures of how they were before. They were single pane, not very well insulated, rotten wooden framed windows, and they've been replaced with double glazed, acoustically insulated, so it's like a laminate, because we are on a main road. You'll have heard in some of the previous videos the road noise. They almost completely removed that. But I'll do a video on how I installed them, the process behind that. I have actually got a new front door to fit, and it's a very similar process. So I'll do that at some point. But on to the next room. So we're going into what will eventually be the master bedroom. Now this is what used to be the back end of the long room. I've actually vaulted the ceilings in here so you can get an idea of the height. They're about 8 meters at the apex up there. You can see where the old ceilings used to be, where the old plaster, you can see where the brick changes from a slightly chalky colour to where the plaster wasn't adhered to it above. I will put a picture on the screen of how I looked after ripping those ceilings down. It took about 3 weeks to do the whole place. And at the end of every day, I looked like I'd been working down the mines because I was covered head to toe in the soot that had come out of all of these chimneys and just stayed in that roof space over the last 120 years. But anyway, this will be the master bedroom. New cavity wall built and installed at the back. Vaulted ceilings. There is 150mm PIR in there, again to thermally wrap this building and make it as efficient as possible when it comes to thermal efficiency. This will eventually be the ensuite for this room. Now I've built the ensuite and the family bathroom back to back, so all of the pipework, the services, everything that goes into one can be shared between the two. It just makes it so much easier to keep everything in one place. But again, yeah, this will eventually be the master bedroom. If we leave the master bedroom and come into bedroom number four. Again, this has a vaulted ceiling, so I'll do a future video on insulating that and the work that goes into it and U values, etc. This actually used to be the bathroom. So from the top of the stairs, there used to be a long corridor all the way down here, and there was a sort of an L-shaped bathroom at the back. This used to be a small bedroom as well, so I've ripped everything down to open this space up. There will be a walk-in wardrobe there. You can see the height of the walls that have been built out of the stud-work. Again, 400 centres, but I've got more walls to build downstairs, so I'll do future videos on that. So yeah, this is bedroom number 4. On to the last one. This is the 5th and final bedroom. You don't see this on most renovation channels. I'm actually living in this one while I'm renovating it. It's cosy. So this will actually be the nursery, and it'll be the first room that's finished. There will be an upcoming video on me completing this, painting it, skirting, architrave, etc. That's all of the upstairs done. I'll take you outside next. If we go through the bifolds at the back of the house, you get an idea of the space that's here. Now, this is the reason we fell in love with it. It's an incredible, incredible building. This mound here and that mound there are all the bricks, blocks, stone that have been taken out of there as we've removed walls and put in RSJs. But I'll take you through into the courtyard. So the old driveway used to come out through there and into this space here. Some of the buildings in this place have been here since the 17 and the 1800s. I found them on maps dating back that far. I'll hopefully do a future video on that when I've managed to research the history a little bit more, but I'll continue the tour for now. Looking at the back of the house, you get an indication of the different materials that have been used over time. We've got bricks, we've got stone, slate, and there's actually different bricks from different brickworks. And when you look at when those brickworks were operational, they don't overlap. So some of these buildings are much older than others. So there's some research to be done there, I think. I have actually re-roofed the entirety of these buildings since we bought it. Also installing the Velux windows in the rooms with the vaulted ceilings. But I'll probably do a bit more about those when I come to renovate those rooms. I'll just continue the tour outside for now. This place has had quite a history, and as you move along the courtyard, from the stables at the far end to this area here, within this part of the building, it used to be a coffin maker's workshop. We have actually found some of the tools of the trade and some of the lotions and potions that were also used by them as well. It's a really interesting place. I'll hopefully do a bit more on that in a future video. Now we come to what's currently being used as the materials yard. You'll have seen Viking Tom, or the Landscaping Vikings videos. This is all the grano that's left over and ready for future use as this project continues. I'll put a link to his channel somewhere on here. He was good enough to do it for my channel, and I'm pretty sure 99.9% of the people watching this now have come from there, so thank you, Tom. Yeah, Tom, Finn and Matt at the end, actually, on a surprise visit. I've done an incredible job on that. I'm chuffed to bits with it. So yeah, this is the materials yard currently. I'll take you in. There are some quite interesting features. The cobbled driveway that I was telling you about down there, this is it. This is about 40 tons worth of cobbles that I had to remove with a crowbar, put into a barrow, wheel across the yard and store here in the rows, because it's like a jigsaw puzzle. And if you don't get it right, it could go quite badly. Anyway, I did have some help with this, so shout out to Nathan for spending 3 days in the sweltering heat with me, moving cobbles, lifting cobbles, digging cobbles, moving cobbles, placing cobbles. That's enough of me saying cobbles. I'm not entirely sure what this is, so if anyone knows, please leave a comment and let me know. It could be a coal drop, it could be a forge of some sort, or a chimney, or an area for cooking. I honestly don't know, so if anyone does know, I'd be really grateful if you could tell me what it is. There are some stairs there which lead up to the hayloft. Now in recent months they've become really unstable and unsafe, so what I'll do is I'll put some pictures on from the last time I went up, before I fell through the floor, so you can see exactly what the upstairs of this place looks like. It is quite incredible. A lot of the old oak trusses and the old oak A-frames are still up there, but yeah, it's quite something. One of the reasons that we were actually chosen by the two people that were selling this site is because we did want to renovate it and rejuvenate it and restore it to how it was. A lot of people, a lot of developers put in offers on this particular place, and they never looked inside any of the buildings. We were told by the two people that were selling it that all they did was measure up the land to work out how many new builds they could get on it after they demolished all of these incredible buildings. And when I turned up and bounded around like a Labrador puppy, and my partner did exactly the same, they just said to us, please put an offer in, because we want this to go to someone with a bit of soul and a bit of heart, and that's going to love it and restore it. And we're incredibly fortunate to be given the opportunity to do this. And if this space wasn't incredible enough, wait till you see what's through that gate. The parts of the building that I've found on the maps from about the early 1800s, late 1700s is actually where I'm standing right now. And you can look at the thickness of these old stone walls. They're incredible. But if you come through here, this is yet another part of this place that we've fallen completely in love with. Look at this space. How incredible is that? So the stone walls there, I've found on a few maps from 200 years ago. And these 12-foot walls are actually part of stables that were here several hundred years ago as well. Now we do have plans for this bit of the land. It does go quite a way down there through the foliage and the greenery. But again, we'll go through those plans in a future video once we know precisely what we can do with it. Now I have one last bit to show you, and it's inside there. Even after seeing all of this, there were still parts of this place that took us by surprise when we saw them. This is one of them. It's quite incredible, some of the history that's in here. But take a look at that. It's the old stables, plus quite a lot of the detritus and rubbish that I've ripped out of that place. But this place is amazing. You can see just the height of the feeders on the wall for what would almost certainly have been Shire horses. They'd have been the only animals powerful enough and strong enough to pull a fully laden coal wagon from here, which is what this entire complex was originally for. When I lifted the cobbles on the driveway, there was two very narrow indentations in the cobbles, which would have been the old wooden wheels on the old cart and horses. When they go back down, hopefully those two indentations will be reinstated, because as we've kept them in the order that they came out in, we can replicate that elsewhere. I think it'd be a really nice feature. Whether or not it's practicable, we'll find out. But from here, I'll take you upstairs because there is an old stable boys ladder. It's not the safest, but I'll give it a go. And just like that, we're upstairs. So the ladder that I came up is that thing, which is a old stable boys ladder. Not the most secure, but I thought it was worth it to give you guys this view. This is the hayloft. So it runs the entire duration of the barn. You can see the old oak trusses, the old oak beams. The purlins are the original purlins as well that run the length. It's quite an incredible space. If I crouch down a little bit, you can see through into the entirety of the barn. The purlins that run between the trusses are mostly the originals as well. Some work has been done on this building over the years, but not on this bit. What you can see above me is the original stone roof that's been there for over 200 years. And the last bit to mention is the garden at the front. You may have seen this in some of Tom's videos when he created this exceptional driveway. Some of you may have noticed the chimneys have fireplaces in them. Now, the reason for that is this house was originally designed to be a semi-detached house. I've learnt some of the history of the building, as I've said, and one of the things that came up as I was looking into it is that these houses were originally designed as a pair for two brothers that were the sons of the people who owned this building and this land. It's been in the same family for 160 years before we were able to buy it. So those houses were built in the early 1900s for the two sons of the people who owned the land. Unfortunately, they went off to fight in the First World War, and only one returned. So they finished building the one house and left the remnants of the other one still attached. So I do have some pictures from when we first bought it of me having to, brick by brick, doing my best Fred Dibner impression, removing the remnants of the second house. The foundations of the second house are still there. They're under all of the foliage and all of the trees. But when we come to landscape this and we expose it, I'll be sure to do a video on it and hopefully explore a bit more of the history of the people that lived here. There we are. That is a maybe not so brief tour of Oakmount. If you do have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll try and answer as many as I can. If you want any of this explored in any further detail, I will do my best to do that. There are places I've not been to during this tour, and that's either because they're inaccessible or I would fall through the floor if I went up there again, which has happened. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, which I believe is what you're supposed to say on these things. And hopefully I'll see you on the next one.